let's see what happens with Bastogne. I do wonder whether eventually, because this is the thing, I know we're already saying about getting players through the door quickly, but I do think he's one that Tottenham would wait on a little bit, to let him take his time and think about it, essentially, because it is a big move for him. It would be, the Premier League is the best league in the world. Certainly. Certainly, I know we're biased because we're involved in it and I write about it, but it seems to be the place people want to go right now, unless you're Kylian Mbappe, who doesn't want to go anywhere but PSG. But yeah, for Bastoni, I think it'll be intriguing to see kind of how it works in terms of if Inter do kind of look that they're going to allow him to go, whether Conte is then allowed to have a word or two, because obviously Bastoni played for him that season. They won the title. I want to get 41 times he played under Conte. He was very young then, so he would have been 21, 22 at that point. Played another 44 times this season. He is he's only just turned 23 last month, so he would have been probably 21 under Conte as well. He's a big fan of his. And likewise, I think when you're a player like that and a coach shows that trust in you, in turn, they kind of get that little special place in their heart. So I'd keep an eye on it. I wouldn't say, I don't know whether this is going to be one that rumbles on or whether they have a quicker solution to that if Inter do kind of not force him out the exit door. That's not what I'm saying, but more essentially say to him, look, if you want to go, we're okay with that kind of thing. If they do say that. But yeah, like I say, I don't think Spurs have any issues overpaying the fee. I know Inter want at least £51 million for him, and Spurs aren't fussed about that. They know that he's a man that Conte wants. They know that he could essentially be a world-class defender. It's an interesting one because he's different to Christian Romero. They're looking for him to bring that real kind of extra quality as well to the squad. Battling out with Ben Davies on the left to kind of balance out what's going on the right with Romero, but they're very different players, Romero and Bastoni. I really have to make that clear. From everything I have spoken to a lot of people kind of who've seen a lot of him and scouted him and things like that, and people that kind of know his character, and it's very different. So he's not the aggressive front foot defender that you have with Romero. He's more of a kind of a languid ball-playing defender. Spurs see him as the potential heir to Jan Vertonghen. That's probably the best way to describe it. That little bit of Vertonghen about him. And there's an understanding that because he's not quite as physical as Romero, perhaps it might take him a little bit longer to adapt. Not a long time, because he clearly is absolutely class. And he's a big lad. It's not like physically he won't be able to handle it. But it's just, it might come as a little bit more of a culture shock. I don't know, because maybe it comes from, Romero. Argentinian football is fast and physical. It's that kind of game as well. Whereas with Italian, it's a little bit different, a little bit more technical, tactical and all that. But the beauty of, I suppose, that situation is that you do have Ben Davies. And Ben Davies has had a very good season. And if there are games when Ben Davies has to play, as they're kind of allowing Bastoni to adapt, then that will be the way it works. So, keep an eye on it. Let's see where it goes. I know there was literally before I started to do this video, there was a flurry of excitement because I think Bastoni put on his Instagram story, heading to London. And everyone was like, oh my God, he's coming to London. It's done. It's far more simple explanation to that. Italy are playing Argentina in what's called the Finalissima. Finalissima? Finalissima. Yes, that's it. It's like the Cup of Champions. They're calling it the CONMEBOL UEFA Cup of Champions. So it's the winners of the Euros against the winners of the Copa America to decide the best in the world. I think the World Cup technically does that, but they're doing it. So that's being played at Wembley. So that's the reason he's in London, or he's heading towards London. Italy aren't training at Hotspur Way. I think they have before, but they're not, from what I understand. And I don't think Conte and Paratici are both still in Italy as well. So it's not like they're going to be lurking around Wembley like Alessandro kind of thing. Any talks right now will be going on through representatives and stuff, and I'm sure in the cynical world that we all live in, that, you know, the representatives would be keen for Bastoni to move, because surely they get a bigger payday themselves if he does. So yeah, keep an eye on that one. Absolutely class player. And now it's just a case of whether, I guess, he wants the move and whether Inter do agree to it. Again, it may be a case of not only waiting for him to not change his mind, but feel that that's the right move for him, but also I think waiting to see whether Inter find themselves in a scenario where, yes, they really do need that money. But yeah, we'll see how that one goes. I mean, if he doesn't, there's going to be names on this. I know Spurs really like Josko Gvardiol. He's 20-year-old centre-back, plays for Leipzig. Plays on the left, can be left-back or central, left-sided central player as well in the back. He's quality. I've got written his numbers down. 46 times he played last season with 6 appearances in the Champions League. The issue with him, unlike Bastoni's 2-year remaining on his deal, Bastoni signed a big new deal until 2026 last summer. So he is going to be very expensive. He's also in demand. I think Man City and Chelsea both looking at him. And there's talk that he might cost somewhere upwards of like 80, maybe pushing towards 80 million, or certainly above 60, 65.